Hello and welcome to the Moncast.
A podcast where we watch Pokemon and Digimon in tandem and discuss the similarities and differences that they share.
My name's Stevie.
And I'm Sam.
And the score currently stands at 14-13 to Pokemon. And this time we are watching episode 28. It's all in the cards and Pokemon Fashion Flash.
Admonistration! We have some Admonistration stuff.
Yes, we do.
And you could talk about it because I don't know how to do it.
You don't know how to talk about tweets.
I don't know. Tweets scare me.
Okay, we got a tweet from @JBillsGames saying, you two, I never really mentioned this, but I really like this. I love the idea of it and everything about it. That was nice. I don't know if they're actually listening, but if they are listening, then thank you very much for that kind comment.
Yes, hello. Welcome to this weird thing we do, and I'm glad you enjoy it, or enjoy the concept of it.
The concept was all me. I'm not even joking. She's like, what can we do to make our Digimon podcast different? Let's do Pokemon as well.
I also wanted to do Yokai Watch, but that would have been too much stuff.
Yeah, plus it's hard to come up with the name.
Yoki Pokey Moki.
Where does Moki come from?
I don't know.
I like the concept of what we're doing as well. Do you like the concept, Sam?
It's a thing we're doing.
We're definitely doing a thing.
I'm joking. I really do like it. It's fun. Good. I enjoy this.
It is fun.
It's nice to go and look at episodes that I remember so highly and enjoy and just watch them all burn to the ground because of time.
Well, eventually we'll get more recent episodes of things that might hold up better. Not everything came out in 1999.
I was 9 years old then.
I was 3.
Terrifying.
I turned 20 this year. That's the scary thing. And then it's 21, which is almost as bad.
It's fine.
I'm becoming an adult. Help me.
It's okay. Even when you're 26, you won't feel like an adult. You'll just be more tired.
Especially because I'll probably still be doing this.
Back on track. @Connor with an O says, at the Moncast, just so you know, I may have to fight Stevie due to bad opinions. #Izzy was robbed.
It was episode 24, which was No Questions Please against Haunter vs. Kadabra, which was the one where you just hated Pokemon because it was bad. And I was just like, but I hated Digimon more.
Well, I agree with Connor because it's a dumb episode, but I let you have the point because why not?
Because I stayed calm and wouldn't give up the point, whereas you just got angry.
But they also said slightly after that is that the choice was between a squandered epic encounter with one of 8 gym leaders and Izzy getting the Cosmos thrown at him. And yeah, it's great because if you look at the actual, like what Connor says, it's literally one of the 8 big important matches he has to do before he goes to the Pokemon League. And it basically ended with a ghost making a girl laugh. Or a planet gets thrown at a giant bug.
I don't know, maybe the battle was better in Digimon.
Because there wasn't one in Pokemon.
Yeah, but Connor and I had quite a long conversation back and forth about just me trying to justify why I gave it to Pokemon. And basically at the end of it, we came to the conclusion that we're actually whose line is it anyway, and the points don't matter.
I wouldn't say they don't matter. They are kind of arbitrary. It's more of the points aren't official in any way, shape or form. It's more of it's what we decide, so it's almost a map of how we feel about these episodes.
It is basically just keeping track of our own opinions about which was better.
Like if someone said to us which episode was better in Pokemon and Digimon, was it episode 24, which one was better, we can say, oh, this one's better than this one too. So what I'm saying is, at the end of this, we could create a playlist of Pokemon and Digimon episodes that people can watch in order and get the best viewing experience out of both.
Apart from when we're forced to assign points and they're both bad episodes, which happens a bit too frequently for my liking. Neither of the shows is consistently good. Further down the line, I will probably end up giving a point to Digimon when Pokemon should have had it. So in the long run, it'll balance itself out. I don't know what score we'll end up with. It could be anything, and I don't know if it'll even matter. Everyone that's listening will still prefer one over the other, and we're not going to change anyone's opinions, I don't think. And we're not definitively saying that one is actually better, we're just saying this is what we think.
I have no idea what you've just said. I'm reading Twitters. I'm not sure how this works.
Last thing from Connor with an O. They linked us to a song that a Digifan made about Sora's episode. It's a song called I Want to Know What Love Is, and it's by Foreigner. It's a good song. I hadn't heard of it before, but if I had heard of it, I would have definitely referenced it in episode 26.
Is that I Wanna Know What Love Is?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I know that song.
Yes, I shared that because it's First of all, a good song. Second of all, I referenced it in the episode. So that was the main reason. You're on Twitter again, aren't you?
Yes, this is fascinating.
Shall we continue talking about stuff that happened? I tweeted that there was a sale going on for Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth on the Vita, which might still be going on now, depending on your region. If you haven't got it already and you've got a Vita, definitely recommend picking it up. Anyway, Digital Moncast said, of course, the problem being that you need to own a Vita. And they retweeted the shout out like, there's a sale going on. And then one of the Digital Moncast's followers said, I'm a bit unsettled at Digital Moncast retweeting the Moncast. Digital Moncast says, we have a long-standing rivalry. It can only end in bloodshed or marriage.
I vote bloodshed. Death by combat.
I vote peace treaty.
I vote I will fight.
Then Mr. Beebe says, what are their opinions on wolfmen? And I'm not sure what this is in reference to. I'm assuming something about wolfmen is very important on the Digital Moncast. But in my opinion, wolfmen are great. They look cool. I hope that's the right opinion to have.
You can have that opinion. I do not care for wolfmen or vampires, which is kind of ironic considering the next arc we're going through.
Why not wolfmen?
I don't care.
Wegburumon is the only good part of Matt.
Every single story about werewolves, they're always tragically lost to people who, I can't handle this werewolf thing that happens to me once a month. Women go through periods once a month and they're fine. They don't make a big deal out of it.
I don't know if periods drive women to murder very often.
I am not going to respond to that in case they upset people. I'm just saying that people who have periods and also are werewolves are probably a lot better adjusted than people who don't have periods and are werewolves.
Sam, all of our werewolf listeners are going to stop listening.
Fight me!
If you call them all whiny whiners. Digital Moncast, just let us know if we've offended you.
Well, all I'm saying is Agumon is the best and Gabumon is his garbage.
If it does end up in marriage, then Lost in Translation Mon knows who can be the ring bearer, and it's Kumamon or Bearmon. I guess that's a play on the word bear, which I only just got. I've looked at this tweet like 5 times, and I've only just worked out that Bearmon and Bearer are the link to make the joke. For ages, I was just like, what has this Digimon got to do with ring bearing? I don't get it. I'm sure it will end happily. We're not going to kill each other or marry each other. We're going to coexist.
I've listened to a couple of episodes, but I'm going to have to download more to listen to and get up to speed because I've been binging Welcome to Night Vale because next month me and Stevie are actually meeting in person for the first time ever. We're weird internet friends, but we're going to go see Welcome to Night Vale in Manchester. So I'm trying to get up to speed and I've got about 60 episodes to listen to still. So I've got 60 episodes to listen to in a month.
Yeah, I tried to listen to the Digital Moncast for a while, but the episodes are just so long. I can't keep up with every Digimon podcast, unfortunately. I might try again, but right now I've got a backlog of like 75 podcast episodes, so it might be a while before I get around to it. Moving on to the next tweet, which is from May, from Lost in Translation Mon, which says, look at you go, the Moncast. One of the first that comes up when you search Digimon. Really great for a new podcast. And there's a picture of us in the top 5 search results when you search for Digimon in iTunes.
Which is great. It makes me happy.
That is really cool. And they're listening to episode 22 in that screenshot. So they're a bit behind.
I am also behind. I am like 8 episodes behind on us. I kind of binge listen to them though. I listen to us at like 1.4 speed and we sound a lot more intelligent because we're going quicker.
And also because I edit out all of the ums and ahs.
The ums, the ahs, the weird mouth noises I make.
I just make us intelligent.
You use the power of editing.
I'm great at editing.
You're very good at editing.
I'm not afraid to say that anymore. I think I'm pretty good at it at this point. Humble brag. And finally, Digital Moncast says that until someone newer pops up, we are the newbie podcast, even though we started like a month after them. I then pointed out that another Digimon podcast has come out since, so we are not the newbie podcast.
That one's called A Breakfast with Digimon, and that's quite good. They listen to it during the episode. I quite like enjoying listening to people sitting and just talking because I'm weird like that. But it's good. It's good. There are good Digimon podcasts out there.
Yeah, I've not listened to them because it looks like the episodes cover a season at a time.
They do like a bunch of episodes, but it's basically as they listen to it and you can hear it in the background. It's quite good.
It's basically what we almost accidentally did for our first episode. We watched the episodes live and I was somehow picking it up with my mic.
I think we did about 9,000 first episodes.
Yeah, before the Moncast came into being, there was other ideas.
But yes, there are a fair few good Digimon podcasts. I mean, They vary in quality. You've got the high end ones like Prodigious is like a really, really good show. That there's the amount of editing and show notes and time that's put into that show is fantastic. So that you got those sort of ones, and then you get ones like us, which are we don't do that much editing.
You don't. I do like 4 hours.
Okay, I do like an hour, maybe an hour and a half. So, and if I add a re-listen to, just to make sure everything's fine.
I never re-listen to anything.
I've recently started doing it, but I listen to it at like twice speed just to make sure. Because then we don't end up with what happened the other week where I released just my recording.
That had nothing to do with you re-listening. That was just you uploading the wrong file.
Shh, I'm trying to justify it. But yeah, I do agree with the digital Moncast. We are kind of new still. We are learning.
We're still improving steadily. Even now, I'm getting a new mic. I've got it here with me right now, with no cable. So hopefully I'll have better quality next time.
Is that it for your end? Is that it for Twitter?
Yes, I think that's everything. That's all the messages we had on Twitter.
Yes. Okay. I am also now going to shamelessly plug Stevie's new podcast because you're in the Year of Steam's little sister episodes, which are, is it every 2 weeks?
Yes, every 2 weeks.
And basically you and some other person, I forgot their name.
Stuart,
that's one. You discuss a couple of Steam games that you've been catching up on because you have this insane backlog of games in the hundreds, which I think is medically wrong. There is something wrong with you mentally to have that many games that you haven't played. There's an addiction there. I've got to collect them all. That is unheard of.
it's the bundles. All the bundles. It's just like, oh, I can get these 10 for just like £1.50. Why wouldn't I do that?
To be fair, I listened to it today and it's really good. If you like me and I've got, maybe 3 minutes of spare time in a day, you don't want to go and spend £15 on a game that you will ultimately not enjoy after the first 5 minutes. So with you folks talking about games that you've enjoyed, it's quite nice to have that little insight into the games that there are. And I think the one I heard today was, is it called like Zafe House or something like that?
Yeah, Zafe House Diaries.
That one sounds quite interesting, so I might have to get that.
The text-based one.
I like text-based games.
So you liked it. That's good.
I liked it. I thought it was really good. It was nice to hear some people talking about things that weren't Digimon. I'm in no way, shape or form salty about the fact that you've gone off and podcasted with someone else. It's fine. It's fine. No, honestly, it's a really good show, and I enjoyed the first episode and it was quite good. It's nice to hear people talking about games, especially, like I said, if you don't have a lot of time to pick a game to play because you don't have that much free time to waste potentially playing a game that you ultimately don't enjoy.
In the first episode, I talked about Realms of the Haunting and Thief Gold.
Thief Gold's really good as well. I'm going to recommend that because I remember playing that when I was younger.
I didn't like it that much. I didn't put a lot of time into it though, so that's probably why.
You're used to a better quality of game. I'm used to lots of really blocky pixel people.
It looked fine. It was just I couldn't work out what I was supposed to do. I don't have the time to wander around aimlessly in a map.
Cool. Right, we need to get on because we've basically done Admonistration for an hour now, which is fine. I didn't know we get that much stuff. We normally don't. There's been a couple of weeks where we don't get anything, so we're clearly on the up and up.
Because of my stats, I can tell you that our longest Admonistration so far is 14 minutes and 38 seconds long.
So you should be able to cut this down to something short.
It should be shorter than 14 minutes, maybe slightly longer.
We can't have like almost an hour worth of recording and you cut it down to 10 minutes. That would make me so upset.
The last episode was an hour long recording, and it was 36 minutes once I edited it down. No, 34 minutes even.
I think the final episode is like 35 minutes. But that's like, even the episode's called We Need to Fill a Half Hour, and I thought that was kind of poetic. It's a reference to, like, obviously Jesse's quote in the episode, but I thought it was quite good that there's so little to talk about in the episodes that we only ended up with about half an hour.
It's been the shortest episode in ages. It was the first episode in 8 episodes that was under 40 minutes long.
I can't believe you have these statistics.
They're all just in a spreadsheet.
I do not want that spreadsheet. You do you. I'm going to be over here playing with my V-Pets.
At the end of the series, I'm just going to have Stevie's stats special where I just look at this sheet and list off things that interest me.
What you'll need to do is you'll need to ask me questions like, what do you think the longest episode was? And who do you think has the most points? Like, who has the longest streak of points? And I'd be like, this one and this one. You'd be like, no, you fool, you're wrong. It's this. But yeah, like you said, we're about halfway through.
Halfway through Digimon and the episodes of Pokemon we're going to be talking about. We're going to try and do a recap thing in between the next seasons. Just about the Pokemon episodes. Very quickly catching up to Pokemon Johto Journeys, I think it is.
Basically what happens after the bits we've watched, and we're going to talk about how maybe they could have condensed that down a little bit.
Are we?
Yes, maybe by having less filler episodes. Because if you look at what the Digidestin do in 50-something episodes and what Ash does in 50-something episodes, it's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, we'll just recap whatever the arcs are in between, probably.
There's not too many. I think there's only like another 20-something episodes, which sounds like a lot, but It's not too much.
Yeah, but then there's also the couple series in between, because we're not going on to Series 2 of Pokemon, because otherwise we'll eventually end up on, like, Digimon Fusion versus Ash in the Johto region somewhere.
Oh yeah, we're not going to go and do, like, the Orange Islands and stuff.
No, I don't think so.
We could do a little special episode about those, because there are some interesting stories there.
Yeah, if we have the time to watch them.
We shall think about it before we get to it.
We'll work it out at the time. That's still another 14 weeks away, if we keep up this pace. We should be finished about Christmas. And then we can have a Christmas break where we just do like one a week, which will be like little special things. And then we'll start up again, I guess.
You mean like the Christmas episodes of Pokemon?
Basically, in between the series, we've got a lot of specials we can do.
There are lots. There's like an alarmingly large amount of side episodes like Pokemon Chronicles. There's like the Digimon movies. There's like the prequel to Digimon and stuff. We've got Pokemon specials. So we've got a lot of stuff we can eke out. Lots. I think there are going to be a lot of special episodes, especially for Pokemon.
Yeah, because there's a lot of extra Pokemon content that's not in the main series.
Which is fine, because me and you, I know we're both massive fans of Digimon, and there's a lot of Digimon to talk about and stuff. But it'll be nice for us to just have these little breaks where we can talk about specifically Pokemon, because it is good.
Yeah, Pokemon has definitely had good episodes.
Okay, right, we're moving on.
It seems like a good time. The first episode we are watching this time is It's All in the Cards.
The kids take a break from saving the digital world and visit Gennai's subnautical house in order to learn some important plot points and let Gennai rip a few buttons off of his laptop so they can use it as a totally not Pokedex. Once the kids have had enough exposition dumped on them, they head off with a pack of playing cards to open a door to the human world. Once inside Myotismon's castle, the kids have to figure out which cards go in which slot in order to open the door. Once they manage to open a door using flawed ideas, they wind back up at the very same summer camp where it all began.
Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions. Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon.
That was short, because there's not a lot in this episode.
There's not a lot in this episode, but it flows quite nicely, I thought.
To start off, I do like this episode. Like, there's not a lot of action, and but where the action is, it fits and makes sense.
But we shall start at the beginning.
Yes, we shall.
They're not in the castle anymore.
No, my first note is, and so the 8th Digidestined child thing begins, because they've just found out about this secret 8th child, who could it be? And then I said how plot convenient it is to have Gennai's house right next to Myotismon's castle, because he literally fires a beam of light out from his house so that the kids can find it, and it's basically right outside the castle. Which kind of makes sense when you think about it. If he's that close to the castle and he has to stay secret, it makes sense as to why he can't just go and help the kids, because if he gets found out, then he's done for. Because I'm pretty sure if Myotismon saw Gennai, he would just wipe him out straight away. So that's why he's had to stay pretty quiet.
Maybe.
Which is an interesting idea. And then when they go to Gennai's house, Joe at one point says there's no lawn though. And then immediately the next shot, it just cuts to them stood on the lawn in front of the house. Do the writers not know what happens?
Maybe they just don't know what grass looks like. They spend all the time looking after the monkeys with the typewriters.
Writing up Digimon episodes.
So they all meet up with Gennai, and he has the cards now for some reason.
Yeah, they are plot convenient cards. Where do they come from? How do they work? Why has Gennai got a copy of them? Why can't they just use Myotismon's, which would probably still be left there?
Are they the same cards that Gennai's just got somehow?
I'm assuming so, otherwise how else would they end up in the same world? It just seems so plot convenient that Gennai has these cards.
And if they are the same cards, there's no way he should have them. It doesn't make sense.
No, they don't do anything else, so they're never seen again. And they're just, here, these cards, you need them to open the gate. We don't know how they work, but just here to have them. It's like, okay, but how do you know they do this thing if you've never used them before and you don't know how they work?
It makes sense that they'd be left behind, because if you pick them up off the lock, then you can't carry them through the gate. But we didn't see anything after the Myotismon episode of them still in the castle, picking up the cards and bringing them out.
I mean, if they were still in the castle, surely they could look at the little pedestal with the cards on and be like, oh, this goes in this order. Maybe we can pick these up and put them back to get to the door. Doesn't really make sense.
Just turn it off and on again.
Just take a card off, then put it back on. And Gennai says to the kids that this is how you can get home. So he's known all along that you can get back to the human world through this door. But he's quite happy to let the kids wander by themselves and get lost and in harm's way for months. What's he doing? Why does he do this? Why do you do this, Gennai?
He only cares about the digital world.
I feel like Gennai's one of the more frustrating characters, and that's only because of what he is. He is essentially an exposition dump.
Yeah, exactly.
he will throw the next bit of information at the kids and then the next bit of information and then tell them where they need to go to do this, which is okay, have a character like that. But if you look at all the information he's given us so far, he's telling them that they have to go to the continent of Server, but he should also say, by the way, there's this monkey, there's also this vampire. The vampire's trying to get to the human world. By the way, there's a door to a human world over there, so you should go. Because if he didn't tell the kids that there's a door to the human world and they were like, no, we're just going to stay on Fire Island, they would never know. And I think it's very wishy-washy for him to have this bit of information that he could have revealed before, and now he just remembers it. It's bothersome.
Gennai's just not a character, really. He's more like a smartphone app. You click on him, and it tells you where to go.
He's like in Pokemon, he's the Pokedex. Or, okay, maybe he's not the Pokedex. He might be more like Professor Oak. Even Professor Oak's more useful.
Professor Oak doesn't really provide information, though.
But he has a use.
He just gives them Pokemon and looks after the spare ones. But I suppose he still does more than Gennai does.
Also, because he's explaining to the kids how they need to use these cards to get to the human world, but I don't know which one you need to use. And he shows them the alternate version of reality where Palmon and Mimi are crossed, and it's really creepy. It creeps me out a little bit with like human Palmon and Mimimon. It's cool. It's a cool idea, but also I just hope we never see that sort of thing again. But surely if he has these cards and he knows they've got to get them home, he should have himself have done some research into what cards do what. And if the gang can figure out on a whim what the cards do, surely Gennai should be able to. He knows more about the digital world than the kids do.
Based on this episode, we have to assume that Izzy is actually smarter than Gennai.
Which I agree with completely.
Yeah, Gennai just goes from really clever to really forgetful really quickly.
Like he says to Izzy that Digimon are divided up into data, vaccine and virus types. And then he should have said, these cards, by the way, there are data, vaccine and virus types in there. These are these ones and these are these levels. But he just doesn't. He just gives them the cards and it's like, okay, you figure it out. And then he also upgrades Izzy's laptop and it looks like he's just pulled a couple buttons off it.
He has basically vandalized his laptop.
I can't remember what buttons would be there on a laptop. Would it be like the home button, the delete, etc.? Page up, page down?
It might be some of the F buttons. Or maybe the print screen button.
But he has now been given an updated version of their version of the Pokedex, which is the Digimon Analyzer. But I suppose it does give them a nice little mechanic later on when AC says, who here has seen Shogunmon, even though it's Shogun Gakumon. So it does give them a nice little thing, which they don't really explore anymore. But it would be pretty cool to see them all uploading their information to the computer. So then they are set to leave because they spend a night at Gennai's, they eat some food, they have a rest, they recuperate, they get ready. And then Gennai's like, no, I've done all I can and can no longer help you. And I'm like, okay, but I bet you're going to do something later on in the season. And I'm pretty sure, from what I remember, he dumps a lot more exposition on them and does a lot more later on. And it's like, why can't you tell the kids these things now? He also doesn't show the kids how to use the cards, which I thought would be kind of an important scene.
Gennai just gives them the bare minimum of the facts that they need to move on. He saves the rest for later, whenever the next arc starts. Whenever more exposition is required, you know that Gennai will be there to provide.
The bare minimum. So then the kids have to set off and go to Motorsmon's castle again, and I was quite shocked this time because I think I've said in a couple episodes that I feel like whenever there's going to be, they need an ultimate level without plot reasons, it'll be a Metal Greymon. But this time we got Mega Kabuterimon. It was quite good.
I think it's because Koromon was still Koromon, and that would be one too many time fillery Digivolutions. So they just went for the 2 with Tentomon instead.
And then I'm not sure what happens next, but they're walking on the ceiling, and then the camera is spinning round. Something happens, and then they're on the floor walking, and then Motimon falls down, and as he says, you fixed the warp in space, and I'm not sure what that was.
They took the cool thing about the castle, which was the whole like really weird cool stuff, like you could walk on the top and bottom of stairs and things, and removed it.
It's just in that one scene. It's never explained or anything, and it just happens, and I'm not entirely sure why.
It's a warp in space.
It was weird. It was weird and confusing.
But they fixed it.
Doing whatever he did.
I think he just removed the cool thing about the castle, which made me a bit sad. They got rid of the Digiworld weirdness, basically.
And then they end up back in the room with the door, and they have to figure out what's going on, and they spend a lot of time.
At this point, also, Patamon is sent off to do reconnaissance, which is just really cute, because Patamon's cute and useful. I just had to throw that in there.
They're not 100% sure what to do, and they figure out basically that they're all different types, that the lion, horse, and monkey, and then they're all data, vaccine, and virus types. And they're like, oh, these cards are these things. And then they say they're in training rookie and champion. Is it that in training rookie and champion?
Yeah, Joe says the wrong ones, I think.
Even though they're rookie, champion, and ultimates, and they basically solve the puzzle using the wrong terminology. But they got to the end result. That's good. And then the castle starts caving in because why not?
They're being chased in by a lot of Tokugamon, which are these spider Digimon.
I get that, but why is the castle collapsing now?
Maybe it needs Myotismon to hold it together.
But it's been up for a day at least,
But Mega Kabuterimon removed the space warp inside it.
and that's going to collapse the castle.
Maybe the space warp was the only thing holding it together.
It's all very confusing. They don't explain why. There are things in this episode that happen without an explanation, but okay, just go with it. So then they're not sure what card goes where. And then they basically elect Ty to be the leader, and it's the final thing that he's like, yeah, okay, you're definitely the leader now. It's official, you are the leader. Which is good. It's nice for him to finally take the mantle of leader. But they're basically picking someone to put the blame on.
When we all die, we'll blame you in the afterlife.
So Ty doesn't want to deal with the blame, so he asks Izzy to do it.
Which is a smart move.
He is the smartest person in the group, and he has got the crest of knowledge, so I would definitely say he's the best one to go for. So then they do the thing with the in-training rookie and champion, even though it's wrong. And then, the Dokugamon appear, and they're like, there are intruders in the castle. It's like, okay, but the castle is being destroyed. Does it matter? Why are you still in here fighting if the castle is falling apart?
They're not the smartest villains.
That's like fighting a pirate on a sinking ship. It's going down anyway.
But it looks cool.
It does look cool, but still, maybe try and save yourself a little bit. And then we get loads of sped up evolution sequences in this little moment, which I'm happy for.
I counted there are 7 Digivolutions in this episode.
It's a lot, but also they were quite quick.
Even sped up, that's still probably like a minute of just Digivolutions overall.
It's not too bad. It didn't really kill the pacing. If it was the slower ones, I could understand, but they were quite quick and almost immediate.
Yeah, at least they went all back to back.
And then we get my favourite song.
Hey Digimon, hey Digimon.
So yeah, we get Hey Digimon, which it's growing on me a little bit, but also it does seem completely inappropriate at times. If you're in the middle of a tense scene, you don't really want just this really relaxed sounding, really chilled, oh, we're all friends here song, whilst a castle is collapsing around you and you're fighting lots of giant man-eating spiders whilst trying to get through a door that's closing that potentially might kill you. It's not exactly the best song for the moment.
It's rarely ever the best song for any moment, but they get through the gate.
They do, and they wind up.
They wind up back in the real world at summer camp.
Yeah, which is the place it all started. But then Koromon asks Ty why he kept the Agumon card, and Ty's like, oh, it's because you're my friend. And I think that's really cute, because I'd keep the Agumon card if I could.
And then the episode ends. And we are promised an arc in the real world.
Which is very interesting, because it's reversing the tables now that the Digimon are the ones in the weird world they've never been to before, bar one.
It should be good. My random bits and pieces today are Gennai's house was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like Gennai's house.
It's got like fish floating outside the window. You have to part the sea to get the stairs to go down.
I'm pretty sure I remember there's something I've watched and they've got water, but it's like a hologram water, so like on the surface it looks like water, but underneath it's just completely empty. But yeah, I feel like maybe that's what the water is there, or unless it's like actual water he can manipulate. I don't know, but I do like Gennai's house, and I like this weird thing of it being underneath water, which explains why Izzy couldn't find it, because if it was just in a cave somewhere, it'd be a bit stupid. It gives a justifiable reason, because you're not going to search the bottom of a lake for a house, because why would you? That's dumb.
Next thing is that I like it when Mimi screams in Gennai's face. When they just arrive at Gennai's house and Mimi just screams like, why are we the Digi-destined?
I like Mimi, and I like her little outbursts. Like when they go into the water and the first thing she says is, my hat! Like her biggest concern right now is her hat.
She's got to look her best all the time. We do get a glimpse of Myotismon in the real world as well, which looks menacing.
He's on top of a building and there's like just his army on the top, all in silhouette with glowy eyes, and you can tell who's who.
If you know them already.
Yeah. But if you had a basic understanding of which Digimon are which, you clearly see, because I feel like they could have quite easily just had a mass of like a blob of black with some eyes in. But no, they seem to have taken the time and the effort to actually draw each one, which is a nice little hint and teaser for the things that they're going to have to face.
Everything with Ty being the leader and the team making decisions was really good for character development and seeing them all interact and assign roles to each other.
There was good delegation. I felt that was quite nice in this episode as well, was how they know they've got to go back to Myotismon's castle and they start to get tactical like they did with Etamon, where Izzy and Tentamon go and take out the first wave of enemies they've got to fight. And then the door opens and then Matt takes charge and says, okay, I'm going to get mine to evolve to Ultimate. Because I feel like with Ultimate, it's the newest thing they've got, but it's also risky because if they run out of energy before the fight's over, they don't just go back to their rookie form. They go back to in training, which are a lot weaker and they can't really do anything to defend themselves. So it was good. And I like the idea of the cards. I wish they were explained a bit more and they had other uses, but it was a bit weird. I feel like if they had used the cards before in like travelling to server or something, they can use the cards to open doors because each card's got part of a code and they can use it to essentially dial up a location and then they can get there. That would be quite interesting, but they've never really been explained. But apart from that, I kind of like the idea. It's a puzzle and it's an interesting puzzle and it makes sense as well with the levels and the types, which are two mechanics they've got in the story. It's nice to see those used in a puzzle.
I liked the whole puzzle solving part of the episode, and the fact that they had to do it under time pressure as well added a bit of tension to it.
But that was my favourite thing this episode were the cards, even though they're like a weird mechanic to just throw in. But it was creative. They could have had some other dumb mechanic, like they have to go and get parts of a key, and they have to go and have like 4 or 5 episodes where they go and find these different parts of the key, or even finding the individual cards. At least they didn't have that. They literally had, here's some cards, go do the thing. Which, it was kind of dumb, but at least it got them to do the thing they had to do.
But then there's the rest of the episode, the parts that aren't good, which is basically Gennai. Gennai himself is not even a character.
He's literally just exposition dump.
He's a sat-nav and Google search all put into one.
He had a nice setting though, like the house was really nice. He had like all the pictures of like the world and fish and like all the posters he had up. It was quite nice.
There are also a couple weird moments, like when they all stand up and applaud Izzy. That seemed a bit out of the blue.
When was that?
Right after Izzy works out how the cards go into place, everyone in the team just stands up and goes, "Well done, Izzy! You're smart!" That was an odd moment. And there was also the tiny bit of reused animation from the first episode when they were going between the worlds.
Was that reused? I'm sure they fell in a different order.
They used the waves, though. It looked exactly the same to me.
It was weird how they weren't, the Digimon weren't in there.
It looked like the Digimon got ahead of them, though, somehow.
Well, Matt carried Tsunamon in, so I don't know why he wasn't them. But like you said, animation. What was your favourite thing in this episode?
My favourite thing was Izzy, because he got a bit of the limelight in this episode, working out how the cards fit into place, and being given basically the final call on how it works. And all just the delegation surrounding that decision to give him control of the cards was really good. He played his part in the team well.
Yeah, he definitely stood out the most in this episode. He did the most. It was almost like it was a him episode, if that makes sense, because he has the little discussion with Gennai by himself, who explains typing and he gets the analyzer and everything. So it's almost like this episode was kind of had a slight focus on Izzy, even though it was everybody learning stuff and getting ready.
I think it was mostly focused on Gennai teaching Izzy. Here's the information you need to be useful in this episode.
It may never be used again.
But now, overall thoughts.
It was okay. I enjoyed it. It gave us some new things like explaining typing, and Izzy got the analyzer updated, which is a cool thing. I like the analyzer. It's better than like what we've had before where it pops to a screen, a stat screen. In this, it gives us an explanation as to why there would be a stat screen.
I thought it was a pretty good episode. I was expecting it to be much worse, because I didn't think they would be able to fill a whole episode of just getting back to the real world without it being really boring. But there was enough in there to just keep it flowing nicely.
Yeah, it's a little breather episode, and I like breather episodes. It's all set up for the next arc, which is the human world arc, which, we'll get to when we get to. But I like, if they had just rushed into the portal and got there straight away, they wouldn't have had the time to collect their thoughts and get ready for what they're about to face. It also justifies Myotismon having things like plans in action, because if they had gone in at the same time, that he wouldn't have had time to start doing the things that he's to do. But because he's had this short amount of time, then at least he's got some plans that could start being put into motion whilst the kids are there doing what they've got to do next.
It didn't bore me to death.
Even though not a lot happened, there was literally just exposition dump and then battle in a castle.
Yeah, it just did enough.
It kept it entertaining enough. The second episode we're watching is Pokemon Fashion Flash.
Ash and Co are on Scissor Street, where Brock wants to finally get an episode focused around him and his dream of being a Pokemon breeder. He's looking for Susie, a world-famous Pokemon breeder, to take him on as her pupil. But first, a fashion war is raging between Susie's salon and Team Rocket's boutique, and Ash and Brock are determined to win and prove to Misty that the inside matters more than the outside. Misty is taken captive by Team Rocket, so Ash and Brock save her from Team Rocket, dressed in rather fabulous costumes. In a heated battle, Susie's Vulpix sends Team Rocket blasting off with its fire spin. Finally, Susie entrusts Vulpix to Brock, as he's proven he has the potential to become a great Pokemon breeder.
Scissor Street. Okay, why not?
Why not? Make up as many places as you want, Pokemon. Go ahead. Have fun with it.
We've had Celadon City, and then they went to Hop Town, and now they're in Scissor Street.
It's a cool name for a street, though.
Especially if it's like the style district. But is this like in the same? Is it this all in Celadon City? I kind of thought it would be.
I've got no idea.
Because they've at no point have they transitioned to another city or anything. So I assume they're like different districts in Celadon City, which would be good. I like a giant city. It's better than just having 3 houses and a Pokemon Center.
Yep. And for once, it's Brock that's decided what Ash and Co are going to do this episode, which is good. It's a Brock episode.
Instead of just being the cook, because that's what he does.
He decides, I don't want to be a side character this episode.
So they go to the fashion district, the style district, and they pass some shops and they see, I don't know about you, but could you tell that the R on the Team Rocket boards was just photoshopped in?
It looked it.
And also the Vulpix on the door is literally just a stock footage, like the Pokedex entry shot of Vulpix, and they've just stuck it on the door. And I don't know why they've needed to do these things. It doesn't make any sense. Like, is it a Vulpix shop? Is it specialty as Vulpix? There's just a Vulpix in there, so why is there this really badly photoshopped picture of a Vulpix on the top? It makes no sense.
Maybe it's just her prized Pokemon.
It is, but then stuff happens later on and it gets me really upset and angry. But we'll talk about that after. You can probably guess why I'm annoyed. So they go into Susie's boutique and she's there making a Chansey or shiny, which is weird.
It's massaging her. Massage parlors are things in the game, aren't they?
They're in some of the games. There's with the happiness meter. You can have Pokemon have haircuts or massages.
I'm pretty certain I remember in the Pearl version going back to get my Riolu massaged all the time, so it would eventually evolve into Lucario.
Which is a garbage Pokemon.
I disagree, but that's Gen 4, so we'll leave it for now.
Okay, so yeah, shiny Chansey is now shiny.
Happy Chansey.
Which is okay, it's weird. I've oiled up your Chansey, have it back. I'm pretty sure this is like the first potentially non-cisgendered person we've seen.
What do you mean?
The person who picks up Chansey is like, I couldn't tell their gender, and I think that was pretty cool.
I just thought it was some flamboyant person.
I'm assuming a lot from the bits that I saw, but I'm assuming that they're not a heterosexual male.
I have no idea about their sexual preferences. I don't think it matters. I don't think you can assume that from the way that they dress.
I'm assuming from the standpoint of the era that the episode was released. Because if they wanted to make it to normalise this person, they probably would have had a woman voice the person, but they instead had quite a flamboyant man voicing the person, to which I extrapolate the fact that maybe they're not straight or something. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting.
I didn't really dwell on it at all. I just thought he was a character that walked in and picked up his Chansey. What else is there to discuss about him?
I don't know. I really want there to be some people who aren't just heterosexual people in Pokemon.
Yeah, but I don't want to assume that this person isn't heterosexual because they dress flamboyantly, because that's not what everyone's like.
I know, but if you look at the 90s and stuff, I don't know, Stevie. I just thoughts and feelings.
You just want representation.
Yes, that's what I want.
Well, I don't think this is a representation you'd want.
Why not? They're cool. They have like a red star on their face.
It's a bit too stereotypical.
Yeah, but you're not going to get anything subtle in the 90s.
Yeah, you're not going to get anything else in Pokemon around that time, definitely.
You'll never get a woman talking about her girlfriend in Pokemon.
Yeah, I think we've spoken about this long enough.
Why? What's wrong with it?
No, I mean, he's a side character that shows up for like maybe a minute throughout the whole episode. He's not even got a name from what I can tell.
I think the point I'm trying to get across is, to me, this seems like hopefully some sort of representation, and I'm hoping it is. But it could not be. Maybe they just really enjoy fashion.
That's the impression I got. I thought they were just a fashionable guy.
I'm just projecting a lot because I really want representation.
That's fair enough.
Because I'm given things like Steven Universe nowadays, and it's amazing. So I go back and look at Pokemon, and I'm like, there's so much heteronormativity in this thing.
Can we move on?
Yes, I will move on if you're uncomfortable with it.
Because I want to talk about Brock in this episode.
If the really oiled up Chansey makes you feel uncomfortable.
I couldn't care less about the massage.
It's so oily.
That's how massages work.
It's going to have a quality to it, though. You can't really hug the Chansey, otherwise all of its oils will stain.
It just absorbs into the skin.
Yeah, but like, if that person hugs Chansey now, the shirt that they're wearing, which is like a frilly blue, I'm assuming really expensive shirt, will just get all oil stains on it. Give Chansey a towel. That's all I'm asking for.
After this, they talk to Susie, who runs the salon, at last. And Brock isn't actually super perverty about a woman for once.
He's almost shy. Well, not shy, but nervous.
Bashful.
That's the one. Because he respects her clearly for her skills. He's not objectifying her for her appearance. He's admiring her for her skills in breeding, which isn't breeding. Misty picks up Vulpix without asking its permission, and it fire attacks. To which I'm like, why would you do this? It's like petting someone's dog without asking if you can pet the dog.
Because it's cute.
If a dog comes up to you and he's all sniffing you and really happy, then by all means pet the dog, but don't go up to someone's dog that's lying there and pet the dog.
Especially if the dog can breathe fire.
Which in this show there is a dog that can breathe fire. So yeah, this is a breeding episode.
It's not really a breeding episode.
Digimon wouldn't stand for this. It's going to go and take my Digimon to a salon to make it shiny so it can breed.
This episode isn't really about breeding.
I've got kind of a rant at one point in my notes, but this is not what breeding is. It's not making a Pokemon shiny or massaging them. It's literally about breeding them, which is essentially taking the traits that you want from the parents, taking the best qualities that you want or the qualities that you need. You basically are getting the best bits passed down. It is not shinying your Pokemon with oil.
It is in Pokemon World, apparently.
So then they're all having food and everyone's looking at Vulpix eating Pikachu's food, and then Susie and Brock have a little conversation saying, yeah, you must work really well to make the food. And then like 2 minutes into the conversation, Ash goes, looks like Vulpix is a fan of Brock's cooking, because he's like 2 minutes behind the entire conversation because he has no idea what's going on. He's just there looking at all the shiny things and smelling all the smells, and he's like, look, it's eating the food. It's like, yes, we know. Well done, Ash. I got a badge. Yes, you did, Ash. Well done.
I'm telling you, he has short-term memory loss.
I honestly feel like Brock and Misty are like undercover carers for him, because if they didn't have Brock, he would not be able to eat food, because I don't think he's going to survive on, I don't know, Doritos and Mountain Dew or whatever he's got in his bag.
He can't afford such expensive luxuries.
I'd love to see what he would have done if he was by himself travelling. But I do feel like his journey's been eased with Misty and Brock being there. And then they have a little discussion about the salons, and Susie says, did you by any chance pass a large salon on your way? And I'm like, this is Scissor Street. There are literally large salons each and every step of the way.
But there's a new one. It's a really big one, being run by Team Rocket.
Run by Team Rocket with the photoshopped letter R.
And their con is to make awful fashion and say it's good fashion and sell it.
And then I've got a note that says, Psyduck is how I feel this episode. Because he was all like, and I also felt, So then she's intimidated by Team Rocket's salon. But Brock says that she's an award-winning breeder. So she's an award-winning breeder, but she's doubting her methods. Like, if you've won awards, that's fine. And then just because some new salon opens up that offers a different service to what you do, why are you going to doubt it? It's a bit like having award-winning lemonade, and then someone opens up a wine bar next to you, and they do quite well, and you're like, maybe I'm not doing the best with my lemonade. It's not the same sort of thing. It's similar but not the same. So why are you doubting your methods?
I don't know.
You have nothing to say.
I can't delve into the mind of Susie and tell you why she's doubting herself. Because plot.
So she decides to come up with a plan of having classes to show people how to do the things. And there's a shot when everybody's gathered around, and I was pretty sure that there's a Pidgey with acupuncture needles in it. It's not, they're ribbons, but like in the actual shop, because it's kind of far away, it just looks like it's got like needles with the little red tags on it. So Misty's decided to go to the salon, well, Team Rocket's boutique, and all the people just disappear like ghosts. You don't see them walking away, they just fade.
Misty's on the side of outside, and Brock, Ash, and Susie are all on the side of the inside is what matters, basically. But Misty's a girl, so she cares about appearance and goes to get her hair done and get Psyduck prettified. I don't know why it had to be Psyduck.
I'm just going to say right now, like, I really enjoy Psyduck this episode.
Yeah, I'm glad it was Psyduck, even if it made very little sense.
Yeah, but what can you really do with Staryu or Starmie?
You could probably do something. I don't know what you'd do.
They go and start to have the demonstration, and Pikachu falling back for the massage was so adorable, because it had like a little happy face on him, and he was just like, yay, I'm going to get this. And it was cute.
Yeah, it was.
And then Misty is getting her thing from Team Rocket, and it's clearly Team Rocket. Like, I don't know how she could not see it's Team Rocket. It's just them with glasses on. Who else has purple and red hair in that style?
No one.
So yeah, they do whatever it is. For some reason, they do it to Misty, and I've got a note that says they turn Misty into a Digimon protagonist because she's got like this outfit, and I think she has goggles as well.
She has hair ribbons.
She looks like a protagonist in Digimon.
Yeah, she's definitely got the hairstyle for it.
And then they kidnap her, but when James is like holding Misty and Misty's yelling, there's an animation error, and the layers for the cells, they'd basically put Misty's head over James's arm, so it looks like her head's like floating over his arm.
Yeah, her neck just sort of floats above her clothes.
Yeah, it'll be that bit. So Psyduck takes some initiative, which is quite good, because normally Pokemon just stand there and do very little, but just runs away and tries to get help.
Straight to Ash and Brock and Susie.
Which is good, because Psyduck's not often seen as a smart Pokemon.
It's a bit of a coward.
Well, yeah, but, you know, he's aware of his role in the universe, which is why he's always got that expression. He's aware that he exists to fight for other people's pleasure. So then they all appear at Team Rocket's boutique, and then Meowth appears out of nowhere and just explains their plan. Why would you do this? Like, it doesn't make any sense as to why he's like, we come here to do this and do this to the people so we get all money. Why? If they didn't explain that, they wouldn't have people getting angry at them.
I don't know. Team Rocket, they just do what they want.
Yeah, apparently they also rented a store and converted it into a boutique where they were making a fair amount of money, apparently. Like, they have good business skills, but they just waste it all on catching a Pikachu.
Good business skills, bad fashion sense.
So they get ready to fight and they press a button, and then it turns into some magical girl anime or something, because there's floaty light stairs and there's the universe around them and everything's falling away to this giant stage.
It's a massive stage, and James and Jessie have the best costumes ever on.
They do, they're amazing. They're like regal military costumes.
Yeah, it's like Romeo and Juliet, except James is wearing Juliet's dress and Jessie is wearing Romeo's costume.
I like that Team Rocket do that though.
Yeah, it is really cool.
So Vulpix uses Fire Spin, and it's an insanely powerful move.
It is a massive fire tornado.
And they just blast off and Misty gets burned, which is okay. You know, normally what happens in a Pokemon episode is they'll have the Pokemon of the day, and then Team Rocket will try and steal Pikachu and the Pokemon of the day or whatever. And then the Pokemon of the day will use an attack and blast Team Rocket off and save the day. And they did in this episode.
It's exactly what Vulpix did.
And then I got mad because it's the thing that they do at the end of the episode where Susie's like, Brock, you should take Vulpix because, you know, it really likes you. It's so tagged on, like your Pokemon likes another person.
I felt like it was a good conclusion to the episode, because this episode's about Brock and his goals of being a breeder. And he's proven throughout the episode that he can make the food for them, he can look after Pokemon really well.
That's the only thing that he does breeding-wise in this episode, is just, I made some food before the episode started, I've put it on a plate.
He also does a whole lot of talking about how much he cares about the Pokemon and what's on the inside of it that counts and stuff, and his passion for breeding.
They spend so much time talking about, like, they have this message, try and get this message across where it's what's on the inside that counts. But then she's massaging them externally.
Yeah, so that they feel better on the inside.
Okay, but she's still sort of doing what Team Rocket are doing, just taking away the makeup and the costumes.
That's completely different. She's not changing their exterior, she's making them feel better.
And shiny.
That's just the coats looking better naturally, because they are better Pokemon.
She's less of a breeder, more of a Pokemon masseuse, and she's relaxing their muscles and stuff and making sure that they're okay. I suppose she's doing that instead of just sticking stars on them or something.
There's no cosmetics involved at all. But yeah, Brock gets his Vulpix.
Because why not?
I don't care though, because I really like Vulpix.
Vulpix is cool, but like it is kind of just tacked on that he just gets the Vulpix because it liked him.
It's the only person besides Susie that the Vulpix has ever responded to in the same way.
Okay, but if I had, like, let's say I have my cat, and then I meet a person who also likes cats, and my cat likes them as well. I'm not going to be like, here, take my cat because it likes you.
Well, if they were the only person that your cat has ever liked besides you, and you're leaving and you need someone to cat sit, then it's going to be that person.
Where's she going? She's leaving?
Yeah, she says, like, I'm closing up my salon and going off to learn more about Pokemon breeding because my journey's not over yet.
Because she doesn't know how to breed yet, because she just massages them.
She's like, I still got a lot to learn, and you're only just beginning, Brock. So it's like the start of Brock actually learning things, hopefully. And I like Brock having his own side quest that he's on himself. That's a bit different to just being the very best.
Yeah, I suppose.
I have no idea what Misty's doing. she's just sort of following along until Ash pays her for her bike. She's probably paid a whole lot more than the bike costs just travelling.
I suppose she just wants adventure, though. She doesn't want to go and do the gym stuff. She just wants to go and have a sense of adventure. And I think Ash gave her purpose in that.
What, on the bike's just an excuse?
Yeah, basically. At first she wanted him to pay for the bike, and after a while she's seen Ash fight and everything and the experiences that they have together, and she's like, you know what, I'm gonna stick around.
Oh, okay.
My last note for this episode is that I feel like from now on it's gonna do that thing that you do in JRPGs where you have someone who's fighting with you, or you fight a boss and they join your team and then their stats get lowered, because Vulpix is really powerful with Fire Spin, but then I feel like in the next episode they're never going to be able to just defeat them with Fire Spin. I feel like it's going to become weaker.
That's probably just a one-time thing.
Oh well. Any more notes for you?
When James was being threatening towards Misty, that was a really good moment in that it actually made me uncomfortable. So for once, Team Rocket were actually being proper villains. So that was a cool standout moment.
I feel like they could just stop the Team Rocket stuff and they could open a really good business together.
They could do all sorts.
There's almost like a running theme where they really succeed in their little side jobs, but they absolutely suck at being Team Rocket members. If the season doesn't end with them if their arc doesn't end like at the end of Pokemon with them opening up their own business and being extremely successful, and realizing they don't need Team Rocket and they've never needed Team Rocket, I'm going to be upset because they're just fantastic people and they've got good business minds and they're quite creative as well.
And the only other thing I wanted to mention was that it feels like Misty all of a sudden cares about being cute and things just out of the blue because she's the girl in the group, so she has to fulfill that part of the plot.
Yeah, I was going to say it's kind of out of character for her, because she doesn't seem like the sort of person who really cares about appearance. As in, like, not that sounds a bit negative. What I mean is, I don't think it's the most important thing to her. Like, she doesn't do typically girly things. She just is herself, and she has things that she does which you can perceive to be girly, quote unquote. Like, I like the last episode where she goes and tries perfumes, which is nice. You know, it's a thing that she can do. She's in a place that has them, so why not? And that was quite nice. That wasn't her being all over the top with, oh, I love all this stuff, it's so cute.
Yeah, she just seems like quite a tomboy most of the time, so it just seems out of character for her to be all of a sudden just really all about the looks.
I could see her sisters being like that, but not her. And personal opinion, I think Misty's style's fantastic. I think it's great.
Yeah, and the last thing I wanted to mention was the microphone effect that they put over some of the lines. Made it really wobbly, and I struggled to make out what they were saying some of the time.
The microphone effect?
Yeah, like whenever they were on a stage or Brock was using a microphone.
Oh, yeah.
It just seemed really wobbly, and I struggled to work out what they were saying.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
There's a lot of echo on it.
Any more thoughts?
Psyduck's great.
Yeah, I like Psyduck in this episode. Not my favourite thing this episode, because my favourite thing, if we're going to get to that, is Pikachu, because just that moment where he just flops back with a big smile on his face, waiting to have his little massage, is really cute. But he's potentially my monster of the week.
Favourite characters or things?
Mine was Pikachu because of the being really cute.
Mine was Vulpix because of the being really cute.
Pikachu was cuter though.
But Vulpix also can breathe fire and is a really cool fox, dog, fire Pokemon, whatever you want to call it.
There's only a few fire types actually.
There's not many fire types in the first generation.
Vulpix, Ponyta, Magmar, Charmander, Moltres, Growlithe. I think that's it. But still, 6 out of that. It's not that many. And they're all orangey as well. That's a running theme I see with fire types. They seem to all be...
Vulpix is red.
Yeah, I was going to say they all sort of have like orangey or red colours to them. Unless they're mixed types.
Fun fact, fire is often associated with the colours orange and red.
Overall thoughts?
I thought it was a good episode. I liked that it focused on Brock.
Yeah, I thought it was dumb, but I liked it.
You thought it was dumb.
There's so much focus on breed. Like, one side it's breeding and the other side is essentially accessorizing. They're not the same thing.
It seems to be a bit confused about what breeding actually is.
Yeah, but apart from that, you know, it's kind of a cool episode.
Yeah, and it's nice for Brock to, for once, admire a woman for more than just her appearance.
Yeah.
It's a shame that that is a standout thing. It shouldn't be a standout thing where you like women for more than just the looks.
I think there are a couple of episodes where Brock is out of his depth with women, which makes me happy.
It seems to be like every episode where he's just like, you're a lady, marry me.
I think there's one episode, actually, it's not really a spoiler, but there's an episode where there's a girl who's like that to Brock, and he just is terrified by it. So I'm hoping we get to watch that one, because that one's quite good.
That's everything for this episode, I think.
Now it's time for Mono a Mono, where we talk about the similarities and differences in these episodes.
So let's start with our monsters of the week.
Mine was Psyduck, because Psyduck was the best thing this week.
Well, Psyduck's going to be the best thing every week.
it showed initiative and it like went to go and get help without being told what to do. And even though it acts kind of like it's not all there, it's a little bit intelligent,
It has basic instincts.
like when to panic.
But I'm going to say that my monster of the week is Vulpix, because it's a red fox, and it's really cute, but it's also really powerful. And my sister's quite a fan of Vulpix and Ninetales, because they're quite pretty Pokemon.
I know a couple people who are Vulpix fans.
They're definitely one of the standout Pokemon in the first generation.
It's one of the prettier ones. It's not like a ball or some eggs.
Which episode do you think had the best storyline?
Digimon, because it's basically just set up for the next arc. But I kind of like it. It was kind of okay.
How can it be better because it was just very simple setup for an arc?
I don't know. It was okay. I mean, like, they were both kind of just as good as each other.
I would say Pokemon's was better, because Digimon's, there wasn't much to it. Like, it flowed along nicely enough, but there wasn't actually a lot that happened. It was just they met up with Gennai, he gave them information, then they went to use the information to go through the gate.
See, I like episodes about downtime. Like, I love Home Away from Home, even though not a lot happens in that.
I wouldn't say that makes for the most exciting storyline, though.
Oh, no. Like Pokemon was more exciting. A lot more exciting things happened, especially with looking at all the different Pokemon with their different garish outfits. Is quite fun. But yeah, I liked Digimon more because it's like the in between like the end of an arc and beginning of an arc. It's basically the little time they have together to think things through. But Pokemon was exciting. I did enjoy it. It was fun, especially Team Rocket and their transforming salon boutique thing.
And I like the focus on Brock, because that made a nice change. And I think it was a good Brock episode.
Yeah, he didn't oogle anyone this episode.
He was well behaved.
Yeah, even though he had like the opportunity to, because it was an episode where there was another pretty woman and they could have just been like, oh, she's so amazing, I want her to be my wife. But he wasn't. He respected her, so.
Well done, Brock.
Okay, I think I'm going to change my mind. I think Pokemon was better, actually.
Well, it had the better storyline, but we're not on to final decisions yet.
Yeah. Okay, similarities?
The only thing I could come up with was that someone other than the leader gets to make a decision about what the group does.
Yeah, I mean, they do give Ty the permission, and then Ty makes the decision to let Izzy make the decision, so.
And Brock basically decides where the whole episode goes.
I mean, they're literally there because he wants to go and meet this person who he admires.
This role model of his.
My theme was misunderstanding, because in Digimon, they use the wrong terms for levels, like in Training Rookie and Champion, even though we're Rookie Champion Ultimate. And in Pokemon, they call it breeding, which isn't strictly what breeding is.
Okay, so it's not really misunderstanding as much as it is using the wrong words.
It's that then, but I didn't want to call it my theme is using the wrong words. So you're saying that I used the wrong words as well?
Yes, you did.
But yeah, I couldn't really find other similarities.
Yeah, these episodes, there's very little in common because there's very little in Digimon to compare it with that actually happens.
I feel like when they go to the human world, we're going to get a fair few comparisons and things that we can say that are similar, because they're going to be in like a human setting instead of a digital world. It'd be nice.
Yeah, there'll definitely be more parallels to be brought between them. The only other possible thing, but it's not really to this episode of Digimon, it's to the last one, where Palmon and Agumon were in costumes.
Yeah, I suppose.
Pokemon was an episode late to the costume party.
Which episode did you enjoy the most?
I'm going to say Digimon, because I like the way that the characters delegated amongst themselves, and basically I like the character development and how they acted in the episode.
I put Digimon as well, but I kind of want to change my mind, because the Pokemon, like, I did enjoy Digimon, but the Pokemon episode was a lot more entertaining. Digimon was more tactical and thinking what they need to do and everything.
Yeah, Digimon was much more subdued.
I did like it.
Yeah, there's things to like about both of these episodes. I think Pokemon's was the funnier, more exciting one, but it's a bit more shallow in terms of the characters.
It also loses points because of the really bad Photoshop.
Well, neither of the shows has outstanding animation.
But they literally just took the stock image of a Vulpix and stuck it on the door. Why do that?
Why not?
I feel like it had some words in Japanese, and also the sign had words in Japanese, and they just rubbed them out and then put these bad Photoshops on. I think Digimon should get the point this time.
Yeah, I liked Digimon's focus on the characters and the decisions they were going to make.
We've been given a lot of information and things like the analyzer's been updated, and we've learned about typing, which is nice because I don't think we've known about them before now.
I don't think they've been mentioned before, and I don't think they'll ever really come up again. Like, it's not going to be, oh, we should attack with this Digivolution because it's a data type and we're going up against vaccine or whatever.
Also, it gets points because it's an Izzy-ish episode.
Yeah, like the amount of attention that was given to Izzy.
Especially because in the last couple of episodes we've had Izzy as the focus. He kind of has tried to be that smart ass, but in this one he's genuinely curious and asking questions, which is nice.
And he makes the smart decisions at the end.
He doesn't just add long, complex words to the conversation.
Nope, he solves a puzzle and gets everyone through to the real world safely. So that makes it 14-14. So it's all tied.
Again.
Well, it's bound to happen every once in a while, but now we have a new arc of Digimon, which could send the scores either way.
That's the thing, if we get a particularly good or particularly bad arc of Digimon, it's going to affect the points in a big way, but with Pokemon, it's basically like an episode-by-episode case.
Pokemon varies much more wildly in quality.
Because you know if at the end of the episode before in Digimon they're about to fight something, the next episode they're going to fight it. In Pokemon, they basically, like in the last 3 episodes, they've gone to 3 different locations for different stories. So
It's a much more episodic series. Join us again next time where we'll be watching episode 29.
The Punchy Pokemon and Return to Heighten View Terrace.
You can listen to more of us on Soundcloud, iTunes or Stitcher, where we like getting reviews and comments.
And you can message us via our Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, with the wall thread and email, which are all linked in the show notes.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
全身全霊ぶっ飛ばす
The first blur we're blowing today is blah blah. Nathan blah blah and the kids blah blah. And blah blah. Jason blah blah. You blah.
Shiny, happy, Chansey, holy. Fun fact, fire is often associated with the colours orange and red.
Would that also be why some water types tend to focus on blue?
No, because that has nothing to do with fire.
And also why grass types can be green?
No, because that has nothing to do with fire.
But water can sometimes be seen as blue and grass is green.
Yeah, but that's nothing to do with fire.
Okay, but fire can also be green and blue.
It can be many colours when mixed with the right chemicals.